Alright, so here's the front page of your Solving Systems practice quiz. I'm going to go ahead and go over questions 1 through 4 on here. Number 1, it says, at a band, school band's concert, club members sell memberships to the Booster Club. An adult membership costs $10. So, $10 for an adult membership. And a student membership costs $5, so $5 for a student. I'm going to use S for students. At the end of the evening, the students sold 50 memberships for a total of $400. So this is going to equal $400. This whole equation has to do with the money side. $10, $5, $400. The other equation is going to do with the amount that you're selling. So we have adults plus students, and those are going to total 50 memberships because we have 50 memberships sold. Again, you're comparing your money in the first equation and then the amount in the second equation. So there's two ways that you can do this. One, you can find the intercepts of these two graphs and graph them on here, or you can go ahead and solve with substitution and then graph it afterward. I'm going to use the intercept method so I can graph these lines. So for this first one, I'm going to plug in 0 for A. When I do that, I get 5S equals 400. When I divide both sides by 5, I get S equals 80. Okay, so that's when my adults are 0, my students are 80. So I'm going to go ahead and get my graph set up here while I'm at it. On the bottom here, I'm going to put my adults. It doesn't matter. One doesn't have an effect on the other, so I'm just going to label one as my students, one as my adults. I'm going to go up by tens for both of these because my intercept here is 80, so 80, if I go by tens, it should be somewhere up here. So I should be able to fit it all in my graph. So I'm going to go by 10, 20, 30, 40, and so on. And then over here are my adults, 10, 20. Okay, so when my adults sales was, when I had 0 adult tickets, I was at 80 student tickets. So I'm going to use a different color for this so we can see it a little better. So I was at 0, 80, and then I have to find my price for my students. When my students are 0, what is my adult price? So I'm going to plug in 0 for S and see what my adults are. So I have 10, A plus 5 times 0 equals 400. So I'm going to divide both sides by 10, and I would have my adults are at 40 when my students at 0. So my adults are at 40 when my students are at 0. So on my graph, I would be at 0, 40. And then you're going to connect those lines there. So mine's not going to be very good, but there we go. You guys will be using a ruler, so hopefully your line's a lot neater than mine. Don't forget to draw your arrows on there. Okay, and then we have the second equation, which is a little bit shorter and should be easier to graph. So we have, if I have A plus 0 equals 50, my adults are going to be at 50. So my when my students are 0, my adults are 50, and then likewise when my adults are 0, my students will be 50. So I'm going to have 2 points on this graph. My 50 here at 50 and up here at 50. I'm going to go ahead and connect those. you can kind of see that they're meeting right about here. Okay, if they were straight lines, it would be a little bit more precise. So this solution to this equation would be that for every, that I have 30, they're going to be the same. The price will be the same when I have 30 adults and 20 students. Okay. Alright. So Sam has a collection of 50 baseball cards. The Major League Baseball cards are worth $3.50 each, and the Minor League Baseball cards are worth $2 each. Sam's collection is worth $122.50. How many of each type of card does Sam have? So I'm just going to go ahead and set my variables here. So X is going to stand for my Major League, and my Y will stand for my minor. Alright. Oh, change colors. Alright, so I am going to be setting up my two equations. Remember, one is going to be about the money, one's going to be about the amount. So for the money, my major cards are worth $50, so it's going to be $3.50 per major card, plus $2 for my minor cards, and that's going to total $122.50. So to get my other equation, I'm thinking about how many cards I sold, or I have, which is 50. So I have my major cards plus my minor cards equals 50. Alright, so to solve this, I'm going to go ahead and use the substitution method. So I'm going to change this equation to x equals 50 minus y. I subtracted y from both sides here. So x equals 50 minus y. And I'm going to take this x and I'm going to substitute it in for my x up here. So when I do that, I'm going to get 350, we'll do it in a different color here. I have 350 times 50 minus y plus 2y equals 122.50. And when I multiply that, I get 175 minus 350y plus 2y equals 122.50. I'm going to combine like terms. So I get 175 minus 1.5y equals 122.50. Subtract 175 from both sides here, and I would get, I'm just going to bring it down here, negative 1.5y equals negative 52.5. And then I'm going to solve by dividing both sides by negative 1.5. When I do that, I get y equals 35. Okay, so that's my minor league amount of cards. And then to solve for my major league, I'm going to plug in 35 back in here for y. So I would have x plus 35 equals 50. Subtract 35 from both sides, and I get x equals 15. So I have 15 major cards and 35 minor. So 15 major, 35 minor. Okay, moving on to number 3. So we have on number 3, the Marvin family likes to go to hockey games. On opening night at the ice rink, the Marvin family bought 4 sodas and 4 hot dogs for $33, and then on 1 month later they bought 2 sodas and 5 hot dogs for $30. So again, I'm going to use different variables here, so I'm just going to use S and H for sodas and hot dogs. So 4 sodas plus 4 hot dogs gave me $33. And then 2 sodas plus 5 hot dogs gave me $30. I think this one lends itself better to do elimination method. So I am going to multiply my bottom equation right here by a -2, because that's going to cancel out with this positive 4 here. Looking at, my coefficients here, it's a lot easier to get rid of these two than these two, because I'm going to have to multiply this by 5 and by 4 here to get 20s, and that's just going to be extra steps. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply -2 to each term in this equation. So I would have the first equation stays the same at 4s plus 4h equals 33. Second equation is going to change to -4s plus a -20h equals -60. This method is also called the addition method because you're essentially adding these equations together. These are going to cancel, and I'm going to get oh, this is a 10. That's where my mistake was. Sorry, -2 times 5 is a -10. So I would get -6h equals a -27. Divide both sides by -6. And I have my hot dogs, are $4.50. Okay, and then to find the price, I'm going to plug $4.50 in for h. So I have 2s plus 5 times $4.50 equals 30. 2s plus $22.50 equals 30. Subtract 22 to both sides, and you get 2s equals 7.5. Divide both sides by 2, and I get s equals 3.75. So hot dogs cost $4.50 and sodas cost $3.75. Alright, and then the last one, Casey wants to join or to buy a gym membership. Club Health has a $1.50 joining fee, so the total cost is going to be $150 plus $35 per month. So I'm just using X as my per month variable. And then the other gym, their cost is $60 per month. Okay, I think this is a good one to do substitution method. I'm going to substitute 60x in for C. So I would have 60x equals 150 plus 35x. Subtract 35 from both sides, 35x. And you get 25x equals 150. Divide both sides by 25. And you get x equals 6. To find the cost, you're going to plug in how many months, which is 6 months. And you get $360. So what this is telling me is that at 6 months, they will both cost $360. So at 6 months, both gyms cost $360. Okay? Alright. Ooh. Bad circle. Anyways, here's the answers to the front page. I wouldn't stress too much about this first one on here. You won't have to be asked to graph a word problem, but it's still a good practice for you guys to see how that would look in the graphing form. But as long as you're able to go through and solve these systems of equations, you should be good for the quiz tomorrow. Alright? Happy studying.